Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Today is September 7th, 2025. Hopefully everybody is having a great Sunday. NFL is back, and I'm glad that you made it back to this channel. As you can see, we are implementing new things, right? New looks. So hopefully it all looks good. We're streamlining this, and the audio and everything sounds great and phenomenal for your entertainment pleasure. So with that being said, let's dive right into it, right? So first of all, I want to say thank you for those who are liking and viewing the videos. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. And the channel is little by little, we're growing. I'm just waiting for something to catch or something else. And like I said, we're building this together. It's not going to grow overnight, and I'm not expecting that. So with that being said, a little bit about my weekend. So today we had our second and final game for my daughter's soccer games. I posted something on TikTok, basically kind of going over what the weekend was going to be. We had a morning game, league game, and today we had a game against a team that we are competing with against an overall tournament. So those of you who follow soccer might know, or those who don't, that there is typically tournaments that are year-long apart from your league play. So you can still win tournaments and do okay in your league, and vice versa. You could do great in your league and not so good in the tournaments, because the tournaments, basically, it's a free-for-all, right? Like exactly what it is. It's a tournament. You just got to catch it. And we did a phenomenal game yesterday. We tied 0-0. We had a bunch of missed opportunities, but it is what it is. I mean, that's the way the games go. Sometimes luck breaks your way. We hit a post on one that was wide open. We had two open netters. But again, it's soccer, right? But apart from that, today, girls won phenomenal, 3-0. Could have been 9-0, actually. They did outstanding. And then we have two upcoming league games that are very crucial, one of which we played that team last year, and that team that we were playing is pretty aggressive and very physical. So hopefully the girls match up that energy, right, with new players that we have this year. And then we have another one. We have what we would call our rival, our local rival. We're playing them next Sunday. So, but again, I don't want to bore you too much with that. Let's start off with some great news. The San Francisco 49ers won today by the skin of their damn teeth. And I tell you, ooh, man, that thing had me stressing. They were down 13-10. Brock Purdy looked like Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's not a good thing. And those of you who follow football, those of you who follow the San Francisco 49ers know that is not a good thing. So it is what it is, whatever. But at least a win is a win. We had a wide open receiver, Jimmy Pearsall. He's a gentleman who got shot, I believe, last season in the chest, and in an attempted robbery, and my guy survived by the grace of God. So he's great. God bless him and his family. He had a wide open down the line. They caught it right in the bread basket, ran it down, I think, down to the 20. Then the San Francisco 49ers had a couple plays running up the gut, weren't as successful. And then Jimmy G did his best Joe Montana impersonation and threw it on the back corner. And number 88, I think is like an undrafted rookie, Tonjes. I gotta Google more about this kid, where he's coming from. But yeah, I mean, the kid caught it. And it should have been an interception. It was a horrible throw by Brock Purdy, scrambling to the right, threw it on the back end, and damn, he caught the ball. He snatched it out the cornerback's hands. So a W is a W, and we'll take that all day. 1-0, week one. It's a divisional game, so you know those are gonna matter at the end of the year, because you want to have as many tiebreakers as you can. And then the Rams, I think, won, and the Cardinals, I think, will be playing, if I'm not mistaken. I think they will be playing. I got to do a little bit better on my research, guys. I mean, come on, man. What the hell? Oscar over here, like, opening up a podcast, and you're not even up to date on your stats, brother. So what the hell, buddy? Come on. Oh, by the way, fantasy football, if any of you are partaking in fantasy football, total shit show. My running backs did horribly. Quarterbacks, Everybody's scoring low. Defense is all over the place again. It's the week 1 blues. So definitely got to do a better job in researching exactly who does better coming out the gates. Miami, surprisingly, looking like doo-doo this year. Bad. Whew. Pittsburgh won. They beat the Jets 34-32. That was a freaking great game. Jacksonville beat the Carolina Panthers. Oh, yeah, Arizona won. They beat New Orleans 20-13. So the 3 divisional teams that we have in the NFC West won. Rams, by the looks of it, us, and yeah, think it's everybody, right? Am I missing somebody? Wow, Oscar, way to kill fucking momentum there, buddy. What is this? You guys hear this? I'm only here playing shit. Oh man, way to kill the flow, buddy. The Rams, like, all right, that's how you can tell it's very organic, guys. All right, so just bear with it. Los Angeles Rams. Can't believe I'm taking my time to do this shit. So LA Rams today. Yep, 1-0. 14-9. So we have San Francisco, Arizona, and Rams all got a W. Seattle at the very bottom of the pile. But again, it's early in the season. Things can happen. We lost George Kittle today because of a hamstring issue. Hopefully he is able to come back in time and get back to it. And then I think Juwan Jennings, fuck, dude, 3rd and Juwan, the guy I was so excited about, got injured. Something had to do with his shoulder. And damn. By the way, guys, I'm looking at, have you guys seen Aaron Rodgers take a picture with Pittsburgh Steelers? Yeah, not a good look. I think my guy needs to retire. He looks older. Aaron looks worn. But anyway, who am I to talk, right? But apart from that, let's kind of dive in a little bit into the topics this week that we're going to talk about. Again, based on my previous episode, I talked about how me commenting on Little League Baseball was going to be triggering people. Guess what? Their people are still pissed off. And it's still trending. Pretty bad, so I'll let you guys know when the comments stop, because I'm getting maybe 10 or 12 per day on a simple comment of blocking the play, legal play. Anyway, I won't dive in too much into that one, but I did want to speak on something that we did last night. So we went to go see Hamilton. Those of you who have not seen Hamilton, the play, if you're very like artistic and really enjoy music and hip hop and have an appreciation of the arts, you're going to absolutely love that. It's a great, great show. My wife and my kids saw it live in New York and Broadway, not with the original cast, but either way, with every character, every actor, they bring in their own spin, they bring in their own finesse, and based on what they were telling me, it was great. It was phenomenal. So with that being said, we went to go see the show because my kids really liked the show. I really liked it. I really appreciated it. I like the mixture of hip hop, the flow. Lin-Manuel Miranda and his team, man, damn. Some of those songs that they made for that show were bangers, were absolute bangers. The flow, the music, everything, the direction, the production, everything was absolutely phenomenal. So we wanted to go see it, and we went to go see it in the theater with my daughter's comp team and some of her friends. And there's a local shopping center out here that we went to go see that's pretty nice, pretty trendy. We went to go see it and had a good time until, let me tell y'all a story. So for those of you listening and watching, if you will be going to any theater at all whatsoever, here's a couple of like courtesy rules that I would like to extend out there. Now, again, I might be old for me to be commenting or bitching about this stuff, but honestly, man, I mean, there's some common sense that needs to go into this. So number one, if you're going to be going to a movie theater and you will be pre-gaming or tailgating prior to going to see a movie, be very aware and don't be blind to the fact that the alcohol that you consume will be coming out of your pores eventually, okay? You're going to perspire. You're going to sweat. And what that means that depending on the alcohol that you consume, you will more than likely smell like it, especially in a confined space like a movie theater. So I get there and it's already crowded. Surprisingly, actually, it was a big turnout. There's a lot of people who love arts out here. So we sat down, my wife and kids and her friends and the rest of her team. Everybody was there, and we started watching. And at first, I didn't catch it. You know, the AC is blasting. People are barely sitting down. There's a lot of movement, so the air is flowing. So you don't smell anything, right? So I happened to sit next to these two wonderful ladies sitting to my left. And the movie starts, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of have a whiff of somebody. Okay, somebody had too much to drink. There's some of these theaters out here in California that they sell alcohol. They have like a local bar. I don't know if you guys have those where you guys are from or where you guys are listening to this, but you can pregame and that's okay and that's fine. I have no issue with that. But just be mindful, right? If you're gonna be standing next to people, just like, hey, dude, like let's not get too fucked up, right? We can't get too plastered. We're gonna try and enjoy the movie. We're not trying to fall asleep or be belligerent. And damn, the movie started. I tell you this much, guys. I didn't hear shit of the movie. I didn't hear a fucking word. All I heard was them singing along. Like these people knew the songs, the music, the beat, the raps, and some of those damn raps are really fast. Like they're like mumble rap, like and they kept up with the shit. And I'm just like, damn, dude. I'm trying to watch the damn movie. I'm not gonna pay $20 a ticket for me to listen you sing along. Like this is not a sing along concert, right? It's a movie theater, right? But I understand people are trying to make an event out of it. They're obviously feeling themselves. So it's it's like it's just be aware of that shit, guys. Come on, dude. But anyway, they had zero, I would like to call it zero fucks in it, and they were doing it. So it was annoying as hell. And then as the movie went on, the smell got bad. And again, man, guys, if you're going to be drinking a lot of beer, and some of us know this, including myself, you get that beer breath. All right. It's pungent. It stinks. It's very yeasty. All right. And those of you who know what I'm talking about know what the fuck I'm talking about. You could be in with your buddies and shit in a closed space in a car, and people's fucking breaths are fucking kicking. Like, bro, chew some gum or a mint or some shit. Open the window. Um, but these people didn't get the memo. They were obviously feeling themselves, and they were just saying they were pollinating the environment with what was coming out of their mouth. So it was already a bad moment for me. And I'm sitting here, right? So those of you who are listening, you won't be able to see me, but I'm sitting in my office chair. And then the way that the theater was set up, like I angled myself in a way so I would be as far away as possible from them, so I wouldn't catch wind of the shenanigans that was bellowing, steaming from those two, right? So I'm like, shit. I'm like, all right. So I'm like over here just kind of bundled up to my daughter, and she's laughing because she's like, what's wrong, Dad? But I didn't want to say it out loud because she has a loud voice anyway. She's gonna be like, what happened? Who is it? Again, kids being kids, they don't give a shit. They'll put you on blast and they'll question you. They'll stare and look when you tell them not to stare and look. That's the first thing they're going to do. They're going to stare and look. So I'm like, all right, I got to be strategic about this shit. I'm not going to comment or anything because I don't want to mess up anybody's vibe. So that started happening. And then the movie progressed and it was fun. The movie, like I said, it was a good vibe. Unfortunately, I couldn't listen to a damn thing because these people were singing along to every damn lyric. Every single lyric, y'all. Every lyric. All right? You guys try to watch a movie with somebody who sings along to shit the whole entire time and doesn't let you actually enjoy the moment or even be immersed by it? Nah, that didn't happen. So I'm like, all right. And then I started smelling like, leather jacket. So lady was wearing a leather jacket, okay? In a confined space. She reeks of booze, smells like a bar. Bad breath is just fucking kicking like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just a bad situation. And her friend was just as worse. So they're like, saying along, doing their thing. And the movie keeps on going and we make it to intermission. Finally. Long ass movie, by the way. But when the hell did previews get 30 damn minutes? Do we really need 30 minutes of previews for movies that we're going to more than likely not see? I mean, can somebody honestly explain that to me, please? And again, don't mind the noise in the background. My wife and my kids are just not wanting to do laundry or chores, but those who have kids and teenagers, you guys know the battle. But apart from that, I mean, we're listening to this, or I'm listening to this, and I'm like, damn, man, like this is really making me feel really shitty. Like I'm not really feeling it. I'm not having a good vibe. And then to top it off, after intermission comes back, my lady comes back with another glass of beer, a big one, a tall, not a small little cup, a fucking tall one, right? So I'm like, damn, this lady's gonna be fucking pounding them and shit. All right, whatever. And you can tell like she had a couple more. So I'm like, all right. So again, the smell. So I want to paint it. Those of you who are just listening, leather jacket, yeasty bad smell, and just loud and obnoxious. But again, I didn't want to be a male Karen and say, hey, man, can you keep the shit down? You know, I'm having my kids. Those of you listening and reacting to this, you guys might have gotten involved or made a comment or said something like, hey, would you shut the fuck up? Like, you know what I mean? I honestly felt like saying that. But I want to be respectful. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to mess it up for my kids or her friends, right? So I just left them alone. Man, second thing that I need y'all to remember, if you're going to go to the damn movies and you are wearing flip-flops or sandals, can you have the common courtesy that if you do take that shit off, can you keep it away from the people who are near you? Don't nobody want to see your feet. Don't nobody want to see your feet. And unfortunately, these ladies, like one of them that was sitting next to me, she literally crossed her legs where her feet are like in my direction. So I'm looking at her feet. She knows that I'm looking at her feet because her shit's literally damn near almost like coming over my side. Then guys, then she starts fucking scratching them toes, bro. Scratching them like digging for treasure. Like it's like straight up like Cookie Monster and shit with the fucking hands, man. Like digging, just digging. And not a light scratch, man. Like, I mean, like I'm talking about like borderline straight up like athlete's foot infested shit, like where they're literally, they need medication at this point. It's itchy for a damn reason, lady, and you're scratching that shit and putting it all over me. I don't need to have that dandruffy feet shit. You know what I mean? Like, stop it. So I'm like, oh my God, dude, this fucking lady's really pushing it, bro. She smells, she stinks, and her friends are obnoxious as hell, and she's scratching her feet right next to me. I mean, what do I do? Guys, what do we do? What would you have done? Honestly, I'm honestly open to hearing your perception and your perspective of what you would have done to handle the situation the right way. Would you have gone to management and say, I got somebody at Hamilton who was plastered, had too much to drink, and is scratching their feet in my direction? Or would you have told the lady, hey, stop the shit, cut it out, get the fuck out of here, right? Tell me, because I didn't react that way. I took the high road, I like to say, where I didn't want to stir up anything. I didn't want to make the shit uncomfortable for anybody. And that was it. And we left it at that. But so I watched the rest of the movie, which was a 30-minute preview, a 10-minute intermission, and another 20 minutes of them just talking about how they made the movie. So it was a 3-hour and some change commitment. All right. So what would you have done? 3 hours. I'm sitting next to the shenanigans. 3 hours. Now, either I have the patience of a saint or I'm a buffoon for not saying anything. But I digress. That's something I felt and wanted to share with you guys about it. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and it's something that I was thinking over the weekend when I was watching, and kids that are doing competitive sports, and it's something that hits home and closer to my heart. So I wanted to speak on it a little bit because it kind of ties into the whole parenting thing. And it goes back to my previous comments of what we allow and what we celebrate. And I want to get your input. What do we think are the positive effects on a child doing comp soccer? Or comp sports in general? What's the objective? For them to stay busy, for them to stay active, for them not to be on social media so much and dealing with that nonsense. I mean, what is the objective? Because I hear different stories from parents saying that they're doing it because they don't want their kids to be home and not doing anything and not being productive. And I get other people saying that they're doing it because it teaches them how to coexist with other individuals that might not necessarily match their attitude, their style, their approach to things, right? And then that's great. But what do we think the parents are teaching the kids that are fighting the battles for their kids out on the fields? And I will give you guys a very, very brief example of this. So, hypothetically speaking, let's say that you have a child in a team sport, and your child tends to be very vocal and they speak their mind towards another child that maybe is not as receptive to the criticism. And the parent approaches you, the other parent, to talk to your child about the way your child is talking to theirs, right? And then you sit back and you're like, well, what is my kid saying that's so bad that's triggering you? And then you hear words like, hey, focus, engage, lock in. And again, when you're part of a team, that's the expectation, right? Now, I could be very old school in the sense that I remember growing up in a time where that was the expectation, accountability. Because we grow up as adults, shit, that's all we get every day. We are being held accountable for everything when you're an adult. You're accountable for your mortgage. You're accountable for your credit. You're accountable for your children, if you have any. You're accountable for your relationship with your partner. How you behave, how you manage yourself, how you manage your relationship is entirely up to you and your partner, and you're both accountable to it. If you're both co-parenting, you're both holding each other accountable to make sure you're taking care of your kid. Obviously, there's one-offs where basically tragic situations happen and no parents give a shit and the kid ends up getting hurt or something worse happens, right? But that is my question for you guys. I mean, what is the approach in those circumstances? What is the suggestion? Because from my perspective, basically, if you are going to come into a comp situation, comp sport, whether it's travel, baseball, soccer, volleyball, golf, whatever it is, when you're doing rec, or basically if you're just doing sports, basically just to do it for fun, there's different tiers and different levels of competitive programs, I guess you could say. You have a very, very beginner entry level for all ages in any sport, where basically they're teaching you fundamentals, they're teaching the kids how to play the sport, what the sport's about, and then they develop and they play and they have fun. Sometimes they don't even keep score of the games because they just want the kids to engage. They're having the kids kind of be used to the sport, get used to it in general, and if they like it, they'll continue. If they don't, they'll find something else that they enjoy. And so the level of expectation and management in that situation is very, very low. And then you have another tier, and then you have a different tier. And then you get into travel ball, where it's hell of a lot more fucking expensive. And those of you who have travel kids who play Little League Baseball or softball or are doing travel sports in general, they're expensive. And you guys know that, between team fees, between tournament fees, between balloon fees, between fundraiser fees, between different socks fees. You have different tournaments within tournaments. For Halloween, you dress up as something. It's an ever evolving, it's just a money grab, right? I mean, that's a perspective for some people, and that's why some children and some parents kind of shy away from having the kids do competitive sports, and they much rather have the kid just wait until they get to middle school or even high school for them to play in a competitive program. But by then, the kid, when they get to that point, they're so behind in development that the product that they put on the field might not be as good. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that they won't be as successful on it, but it's good to have them have a head start and understand the sport. So if they do end up playing it, then they can put all their effort into it, right? All their stuff into it. But if you're going to be part of a comp program, there's a couple things as a parent that I'm talking to you guys. If you're planning on putting your child in comp sports, not every parent that you're going to be a part of in the team is going to have the same approach or mentality that you have with your kids. And you have to be okay with that, because it's a community, it's a village, it's a culture. And sometimes if you come from too extreme one side and the team is over here, and you're not willing to bend your perspective and your outlook and sort of mesh with the rest of the village, it's going to make it very tough for you to enjoy the entire situation. And that is something that I think it's missed often, and some parents come in with this perspective that, hey, well, my kid is going to play comp sports and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. Everything's going to be fine. No, it doesn't always work out that way, because sometimes some kids, they come and do these comp sports who have that mentality that of, I want to be better. I want to develop. I'm going to be the aggressive one. I'm going to be really, really over the top, high energy. I'm going to do everything I can to surpass my own abilities and become better at this thing that I'm doing. And if we come in with our child in a bubble and not receptive to these things, it puts the kid in a really tough situation where they're not going to know how to manage that, how to manage their emotions, their feelings of okay, what do I do in this situation, right? Because honestly, that happens a lot, more than and again, it has nothing to do, there's nothing wrong with a parent protecting their kid. I don't say nothing wrong with that, but at some point you have to look back and pause and be like, if that's something really that maybe you are wanting to have your kid involved in, or maybe not. Maybe instead of being at tier 4, where it's the max level, where the expectation is much higher, maybe you want to bring in at a 2 or a 3 and let them see how they do. And not go full bore, and because if the kid doesn't have a good time and it's a toxic environment for them, you're going to make it very difficult for that child to show any further interest in that sport, because they're always going to remember the bad things. They're not going to remember the good things, and some of these things you have to also teach and coach your child to really manage their own emotions and how to talk to people. I mean, that's the whole thing of being a part of a team sport. You have to coexist with others as well, who might not have the same perspective and outlook or the same approach or even competitive drive that you do. That's totally different. So you got to manage that. You got to be receptive to that. And even in some cases, the sport might not be necessarily the one that your child is going to be successful in. You have to be realistic with your own kid's abilities and expectations, but don't kill the kid because he's not the best in his team. We have to do better as adults, as parents, to kind of observe and watch, and sometimes that's why I think it's critical for for us parents to be involved more with our kids at such a young age, to really engage with them, even in their sports. It's all about engagement in the parenting side of it. And that's something that I really wanted to touch on, because it's something that I see more and more. I see videos, I see parents, even in Little League Baseball, where some parents go belligerent because an umpire calls a strike when it's a ball, or when a player does something, or they showboat too much, and they're losing their mind, and they completely act belligerent, like it's Bush League type of stuff. I mean, that's not really setting up our kids to manage their emotions well, because we're being a shitty example ourselves. So with that, I want to say that, just if those of you who have kids in sports, manage, observe. I recommend for all of you who are planning or wanting to do these things with your kid, to really evaluate your child and do an honest assessment, a realistic assessment. If your kid is an athlete, they're an athlete, and that's great. But not every athlete can do every sport. They're just very athletic. They could run for hours at a time, but if you don't have technical ability, or if you're not receptive to the sport, then you're not really going to enjoy it or have fun. If you are not enjoying a sport like a basketball thing or whatever, if you're just not there with it, I mean, you have to make tough choices for them as well. As much as they want to play a sport, sometimes they're just not going to be able to. That's just the norm. When they're small, that's great because you want to give them the opportunity. But when they get to a much higher age, an older age, it's going to be way difficult for them to catch up with everybody else. So we have to be receptive to that. And just be mindful of that. I mean, that's my advice for this podcast, this episode, is the key word that I would like for all of you to practice is engagement. How often do you engage with your kid in the things that you talk about? How often do you talk about their sports if they're teenagers? When you see them, are they enjoying it? Because I'll tell you this much, not every kid is going to enjoy everything. And those of you who do have kids who are talented, who do have that drive, we also have to do a job about pushing them and coaching them as much as possible. Coaching and mentoring and engagement are very, very critical in a child's development and showing interest. It doesn't have to be the negative kind. It can be the positive kind as well. I mean, there's ways for a child to cope with their emotions and manage it. I mean, those of us who are listening that might have kids that suffer from anxiety, those of them who are high energy or on the spectrum, I mean, all of you know how to manage your kids, but it'd be a good opportunity if you have your kids in these particular sports to really have them to teach them or teach others how to navigate around your child and what your expectation is. And the other thing too is like those of you who play sports, or have your kids play sports, they usually have team meetings with the coach or with the assistant managers or other parents. If your kid for a particular, and it doesn't mean you have to air out all your shit, right? All your kid stuff. But if you know that your child requires a special type of, not treatment, but a manner in which that triggers them or things that trigger them, it'll be good for everyone to know. Because like I said, we're all a village, we're all a community. And we want that kid to be successful as much as you do. I want my kid to be successful because of the feedback that you provide. I want us to be all cheerleaders of our entire team, not just one child, both negative and good, right? But we all have to be open to it because we're also teaching our kids that we're receptive to criticism. So if you hear the coach telling you, hey, you underperformed, and your kid is coming to you and you tell them, now you did great, that's not sending a good message. You have to be in line with what they say. And the same thing with those of you who are listening that are in the educational system. It's not fair to you to raise these kids all on your own. That's on us. If my kid is a knucklehead because I'm a knucklehead and I'm allowing it to happen, that's all on me. And that's not okay. But apart from that, I want to leave you guys with a handful of little things that I recommend that we do more often. And I know some of you are probably going to be like, oh, fuck, here we go. No. So here are some things. Now, some of this stuff might or might not like jive with you because of your own beliefs and your own perspective, and that's okay. Not everybody is religious, right? But something that our family is starting to do a lot more, and my wife and I decided to do it for our own personal beliefs and our own reasons, was, reading the Bible every day during dinner and reading a passage, reading scripture, whether it's, Corinthians 1, Matthew, we just read yesterday. We read the letters of the Kings. We read, Isaiah, Genesis, Psalms. I mean, we're kind of going through the Bible little by little and kind of reading the Bible and kind of analyzing it and what it speaks on. But for those of you who are not the religious type, the reason why we do this is because we're engaging with our kids during dinner. And instead of them being on their laptops, instead of them being on their computers, it'll be good or a nice practice to break the norm and have dinner and sit down with your family. Sit down with your kids. Whether they're in bed, whether they're doing other sports, set a time and make the effort to sit down and engage with them and ask them how their day went. Talk it over, and have a real good conversation with them about the upcoming weekend, how the games went this weekend, how do they think that the game went, what could they have done better, what could they improve on. But at the same time, also, when they notice that you and your spouse or your partner are engaging in a really adult, deep-ass conversation with respect and love and just genuine warmth, you're teaching them that that's the expectation. You're raising the bar of that's the expectation of what they should be doing. And if you've never experienced that yourself, because I did not experience that myself because my parents worked so much. And those of us who grew up and had our parents have dual jobs, et cetera, we can all relate the level of appreciation we had when our parents were home. Now, not all parents were perfect. Some parents were abusive, and, we can divulge into that all we want, but the ones who didn't grow up that way, you can appreciate that now because you're teaching that with your kids. You're engaging them. You're making them come down from downstairs or in their bedrooms locked in or on their laptop or computer and sit down and have a conversation. Let's talk. How'd it go? I mean, you want to go to an upcoming concert? Why? What have you done? How's your room? Is your room clean? It brings everything to the table where we can all talk about like adults and like a family and bring it together and then find a common thing that all of you can do for fun, whether it's doing a board game or something. It could be something so monotonous, something so silly, but it makes and creates a genuine, phenomenal impact in their lives. So my advice for you today on this Sunday, September 7th, is put down the social media platforms, even this one. Put on some nice music in the background. Have a nice, beautiful dinner with your family. Enjoy them and have them enjoy you. Maybe even share a funny story from when you were growing up or a story about you and your partner. And if you were a single parent, tell them a silly story about them. Make it about them. Oh, do you remember when you did this and you snuck out the house when you were 4 years old and we were looking for you and you were hiding, in the bushes in the back and you thought it was the most hilarious thing? Or do you remember when you were 5 or 6 years old or when we were potty training you and you decided to just run amok around the house butt booty naked in front of everybody? And everybody was cracking up, including Grandma and Grandpa. Or do you remember when Grandma and Grandpa used to put you to sleep this way and they used to sing you lullabies and you used to love it all the time? Make it about them. Share stories. And at the end of the day, be warm, engage, be thankful for those people you have at that table. Because not everybody does and not everybody will. So if you are given that opportunity, look around that table to the one next to you, the one in front of you, say thank you, we love you, and God bless. So with that being said, today's episode will be concluding shortly. Thank you for partaking in another episode. I know today's episode kind of started off a little bit goofy, and then we started to get a little bit more deep, but that's the objective of this channel. I want to bring it back home and circle it back of what the purpose is. But I will be diving into a little bit more stories. There's a couple articles that I've been looking into as far as good parenting styles and things like that. I will be interviewing a couple folks probably in the next month or so. Got to check with their schedule and actually ask them because right now they have no fucking clue. So those of you listening, hey, I might be asking you for an interview, bro, or girl, or lady. So be ready. If you guys want to be on camera, great. If you don't, that is fine too. We could do an audio one. I would just want to make it fun. Now, for those of you liking the videos, sharing them, and subscribing, I appreciate you. Thank you. God bless. Those of you who are not, God bless you as well and your families. And to the 2 Powerball winners, did y'all know that shit? So looks like they had the winners finally. $1.6 billion freaking dollars between 2 people. Shit, what are you going to do with that money? After taxes, what do we get? Half of that. I'm typing it in, y'all. I'm typing it in. Powerball winners. I know I'm closing and I'm like fucking crash and burn. Yeah, Powerball winners. Winning tickets sold in 2 states. Massively, 1.8 billones de dólares. In the states of Missouri and Texas. Nobody in California. Texas, you don't pay state tax. So damn, they're the winners. Those in Missouri, shit, that's hell of a lot of money. Just give me like 0.5% of that shit and I'm good. But anyway, thank you. Like I said, God bless and appreciate you. I'm going to post this soon and thank you. Sorry to sound like a broken record. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back. I might be posting something in the middle of the week. We don't know yet. Oh shit. I forgot to say, I'm getting a haircut, y'all. I don't know if you guys know, but my hair is getting a little long. Sick and tired of wearing this damn hat, man. I think I had somebody tell me that shit stains as fuck. Like, whatever. It's a word cat, dude. All right. It's cart, heart, and yeah. Anyway, more of the story is, like I said, have a good day. Let's engage. Let's make it interesting. Have a beautiful weekend. And thank you. And God bless.